Good morning to all of you present here and online in the Philippines, in Mindanao, and beyond our borders. I know that there are followers of this program today who are based outside of the country, and we would like to welcome you all to this event today. Now, I would assume that while we have about 300 participants online in today's event, thousands are glued on their Facebook pages and television watching the Miss Universe. Meron kasing meron kasing competition ngayon to find out who is the most beautiful and talented woman in the universe. That's a very good competition. Today we are also participating in another competition. And this competition will be in the field of agriculture. You know, I have always believed that we have taken a lot of things for granted in our country. I have repeated time and again that the Philippines actually has the potential of becoming a major agricultural and fisheries producer in this part of the world, but we have often neglected the resources that we have. Like, say, for example, not very many people know that the Philippines actually has the fifth longest coastline in the world. What does that mean? That means that we have a lot of fishing grounds, but we do not produce enough simply because we have not really focused on this sector. Not very many people know this, but did you know that while a lot of products could be grown in the Philippines, we actually import these products, not because we could not produce them, but simply because we have not focused on the production of these commodities. Now, the problem with relying on importation actually, and I have always explained this, is the fact that when we rely on foreign sources of our commodities, be it food and others, we actually take away from the local producers the opportunity of making money. Like, say, for example, and I have always argued this, hindi ganun kasimple ang mag-import ng baboy para sabihin nating mas mura ang baboy na ibebenta natin sa merkado. It actually goes beyond just the price. Kasi the moment we rely on importation, say for example, specific example, baboy. Sabihin nating nakatawad tayo, nakamura tayo ng 20 pesos, 30 pesos per kilo ng baboy na imported over the locally produced pork. Well and good. But did you know that ang involved sa hog industry sa Pilipinas actually, or rice industry for that matter, or other agricultural commodities, hindi lang yung producer. Because in the case of the hog industry, for example, for a farmer to be able to raise hogs, the corn farmer must plant corn. So sinong involved dyan? Yung tractor operator, yung laborer, yung farmer, yung truck driver na maghakot ng mais, yung feed mill, yung empleyado ng feed mill, yung truck driver na mag-deliver ng feeds, yung empleyado ng tindahan na nagbebenta ng feeds, yung matadero na pwedeng magdala ng extra na mga tinadtad na baboy pa uwi para maging ulam nila. It's a whole production line actually. That's why I have always believed that we should look at the potentials of this country in producing agricultural commodities which would grow well in our country, because by doing such, not only will we be saving our precious dollar reserves, we will also be creating income and job opportunities for our people. And this is what we need actually. The pandemic has shown us that we cannot rely on foreign sources of goods, food, and other commodities because in a pandemic, the supply chain could be disrupted. Now, as I've said earlier, while many people are glued on their television sets watching who will be proclaimed winners in a beauty competition today, we will also be marking today the start of a new competition. We will compete with the rest of the world in producing two very important commodities which actually are in demand in the local market. What are these commodities? Avocado, the Hass variety, because that is the internationally accepted variety of avocado, and langka, which is jackfruit. Why are we promoting langka? Did you know that we are importing 500 million worth of langka from Vietnam and Thailand every year for our turon and ice cream making? We can easily grow langka. But since we have not made it an industry, isang puno doon, dalawang puno doon, so we cannot market our produce of langka commercially kasi hindi organized yung mga farmers. The same is true with avocado. We have a lot of avocados. Although avocado actually originally came from South America, and I would assume, while I have not made a research on this, I would assume that avocado is one of those products which was brought to the country via the galleon trade when we were trading with Mexico during the Spanish period and planted in the Philippines. And by the way, hindi lang avocado ang Aztec plant and vegetable na na-import natin sa Mexico courtesy of that galleon trade that we had during the Spanish period. Of course, atsuete, yung mga maite na mga gulay at mga tanim. Actually, those are Aztec plants which we imported from Mexico and propagated in the Philippines. So avocado is a very lucrative industry. Kanya lang yung ating avocado dito is the native variety while masarap, hindi natin pwedeng ma-export kasi hindi consistent yung quality, hindi pwedeng i-handle ng mahaba or i-haul ng mahabang panahon kasi yung kanyang balat ay manipis. The Hass variety of avocado actually is the type of avocado whose rind, whose balat is thick and rugged that it could be transported long haul and it has a longer shelf life. So today, let me just give you a brief insight into what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do here is to start an industry. Start the Hass avocado and jackfruit industry. You know, I was born in Mindanao. As a young boy, nakita namin yung pag-promote at propagate ng rubber. Ang rubber actually, the rubber tree actually, for your information, galing ito sa South America. Ito yung tinatawag ng mga Indians na the weeping tree or caoutchouc. No? Kasi pag sinugatan mo siya, iiyak. No? It was introduced to the southern Philippines via Malaysia. No? At ang unang tinaniman ng rubber ay Basilan, Zamboanga, and then Cotabato. Ang problema, pumasok yung rubber industry sa Mindanao na walang guidance ng gobyerno. Basta everybody just brought in his own clone planted it, and without any technical support from government, the farmers planted. So hindi complete yung value chain. Hanggang doon lang sa production. Kaya ngayon, nagre-reklamo yung mga farmers na hindi na maibenta sa magandang presyo yung kanilang produkto. The same is true with other commodities. Cavendish banana, for example, ganun din ang nangyari. No? So, ang gusto natin mangyari ngayon is to start two new industries, learning from the sad and painful lessons of the disorganized agro-industrial ventures like rubber, palm oil, and Cavendish banana. Look, hanggang ngayon, while meron ng Philippine Rubber Research Institute, essentially, wala pa ring research on rubber, unlike in Malaysia na meron silang Malaysian Rubber Institute of Malaysia, no? Rubber Research Institute of Malaysia. Yung ating Cavendish banana, na-organize lang yung Banana Industry Development Council nung panahon ko as Secretary of Agriculture. For so long, pinabayaan. Ang palm oil until today, it's an industry, pero nasa ilalim pa ng Philippine Coconut Authority. So, hindi natutukan itong mga commodities na ito. And it's creating problems actually for the producers. So, what we would like to do here, gusto nating mag-start ng dalawang industriya, ayusin natin. The rubber industry, as I've said, was first introduced to Mindanao through Basilan, Zamboanga, and Cotabato over a century ago. And it had been beset by a free-for-all attitude with no set or accepted standards in production and the failure to complete the value chain, leaving farmers at the mercy of rubber cap lumps traders. Until today, our rubber farmers are still producing cap lumps. Kaya hindi makakompete dahil wala tayong hindi complete yung value chain. The same narrative for both oil palm and Cavendish banana, where government support and interventions had been sorely missing, leaving both sectors to fend for themselves. During my time as Secretary of Agriculture, that was only the time when the banana industry took the first step to fully organize the industry by creating the Banana Industry Development Council. The lack of assistance to the sectors is also a problem. Absence of a government-assisted research and development program left these sectors in the doldrums. Like say for example, until today, hindi pa rin natin solve yung problema natin sa fusarium sa Cavendish banana. Because until today, the research effort is still being left to the private sector. Hindi inalalayan ng gobyerno itong sektor na ito. Ang Cavendish banana propelled the Philippines to the status of the second largest producer in the world, a distinction which is now threatened by the unabated devastation of banana farms by the fusarium wilt or Panama disease and the cutthroat competition among farmers themselves. In this virtual convention today, I want to present Hass Avocado and Abuyog Jackfruit development approach, which covers all areas, from product research and development to reliable funding programs to scientific and efficient production to a consolidated marketing program and a complete value chain. Dapat kumplituhin na natin. Pag nagtanim si farmer, may funding, may research, at dapat may merkado. That is what we would like to do with these two new industries right now. Under the leadership of a council, a development roadmap for Hass Avocado and Abuyog Jackfruit, which would carefully craft production targets based on the market's absorptive capacity. Ito, palaging problema ito. I'm glad that Lalaine Lam of Avanti Agri-Products is here, no? Because ito problema. Magtatanim si farmer kasi narinig niya na mayroong maraming bumibili ng kalabasa. Magtatanim siya ng kamatis kasi narinig niya maraming market ng kamatis. Without even studying the absorptive capacity of the the farmers are left on their own to plant what they believe would make money for them. But at the end of the day, when they start harvesting, they will find out that because they harvest at the same time, the market could not absorb the production that they have. And that is where the problem starts. Now, we would like to avoid this. By introducing these new industries, we have to be wary. We have to be aware of the absorptive capacity of the market. So, meron tayong inimbitang isang international fruit exporter, Lalaine Lam of Avanti Agriculture, Agri-Products. She will tell us anong potential ng avocado for export. Anong potential ng jackfruit for local processing and also for export. There will be no mud rush to plant, which marked the introduction of new agricultural crops in Mindanao in the past, as the roadmap will identify which areas are suited for the development of these new crops. Now, let me remind farmers who are joining us right now. Marami kasing nagme-message sa akin, Sir, pabili naman ng ng avocado seedlings. Sir, ako din. Sir, ako din. No, look, I'm sorry. Not everybody could plant avocado. Because if we want to produce quality avocado or quality jackfruit, these fruit trees must be planted in areas suitable for the propagation of these trees. Like say for example, according to experts, ang avocado, good quality ang pangbunga mo kapag high elevation ang tinaniman mo. So, we don't want to go into that situation where pagkatapos niyang magtanim, masama yung quality ng kanyang produkto, sisisihin niya yung gobyerno. Unsang klase man si Pinyol nga di man palito ning akong avocado. No? But look, we have to maintain the quality, the standards, the size. So if we, di ba? Yan ang kailangan natin, no? So the roadmap will identify which areas are suited for the development of these new crops. So I'm sorry to say, not everybody could plant avocado. You may plant, but you may not be included in the program because if you plant outside the suitable areas, you may not produce the quality of the fruits that we need to be able to market it efficiently. Only those whose areas are ideal for the growing of these crops will be accredited as members of the new sectors who will subscribe to the production and environmental protocols to be established by the Council. Quality, quantity, and market absorptive capacity will be the guiding principles which MinDA will inculcate into the minds of the farmers and stakeholders of these new industries. With these guidelines religiously observed, the Philippines could rise to become one of the major producers of avocado in the world in 5 to 10 years, just as it did with Cavendish banana production. Look, right now, ang number one producer ng avocado in the world is Mexico. They export a lot. But if you look at the map, the world map, makikita mo na pareho tayo ng nasa equatorial line tayo. Pareho tayong linya ng Mexico. And we know for a fact that avocado grows well in the Philippines. And we know for a fact that in Mindanao, napakaganda ng ating lupa, that avocado could easily be grown. And aside from that, you have to understand na itong programa natin na ito, this is not just for fruit production. This is also for the greening of Mindanao. Because ang tatargetin natin dito will be the highland areas na kinalbo ng mga loggers in the past and which we have to regreen. So part ito ng ating Greening Mindanao program. This time, we will start with the right foot. Number one, first component, identification of the suitable area. There must be a scientific identification of elevation according to experts. Anong pwedeng taniman, anong magandang area. Number two, geo-tagging. We must be able to come up with a map kung saang area sa Mindanao ideal na itanim yung Hass avocado at saka yung jackfruit. Aerial mapping, environmental risks assessments. Kailangan malaman natin kung yung pagtatanim natin ng avocado o langka sa isang critical na area, hindi ba makasira sa environment, hindi ba maka-apekto sa ating palibot, no? Kapaligiran. So simultaneously, MinDA will be hiring an expert consultant for the establishment of the Avocado Research and Development Hub. For jackfruit, we already have experts in EVIARC, the Eastern Visayas Agricultural Research Center. So, hindi na natin kailangan pang mag-hire dyan. But for avocado, it's a new commodity that we really have to hire experts to advise us. Number two, we have to engage and tie up with SUCs, or state universities and colleges. And we're looking at Central Mindanao University and the University of Southern Mindanao as two of these SUCs. Local partner SUCs to tie up with international SUCs. Like, say, for example, we will encourage CMU and USM to tie up with UCLA or UC Davis, whatever, universities in California where they grow Hass avocado. There must be a formulation of the quality manual. There must be a formulation of the criteria and guidelines for membership. There must be a right shop with experts and SUC partners. The second component of this program is organizing qualified members and stakeholders. As I've said earlier, this is not going to be a free-for-all program. If we want to produce quality avocado, quality jackfruit, the farmers who will be enrolled in this program will have to agree to abide by the standards set by the council. Kasi pag nagbenta tayo, hindi pwedeng palusutan. Yung kay Juan, malaki ang kanyang avocado, maganda. Yung kay Pedro, maliit, bulok. Hindi tayo pwedeng magbenta ng ganun. There must be a consistent quality in our production para ma-market natin, para sila Lane, hindi siya mahirapang mag-market. Mamaya, pag benta niya sa Dubai, itatawag sa kanya, "Hoy, yung avocado mong isang karton, bulok, maliit, hindi magandang quality." Because it came from an inferior farm, which is not suitable to avocado farming. So, there will be an identification and screening of qualified members of the program. There will be aerial mapping, there will be geo-tagging. Number three, planting materials propagation. Actually, what stunted the growth of the Hass avocado industry in the Philippines is the absence of clonal materials. Kasi walang effort yung gobyerno to look into this industry. Nahuli tayo dito eh. Naunahan tayo ng, again, private company, Dole Philippines, ang unang nag-propagate ng Hass avocado. I think they started in 2006. They have 3 areas right now, Cablon in Polumulok, Kalinan, and in Bukidnon. So, limited. In fact, it was only during the term of President Duterte that Dole Philippines was able to export their Hass avocado to China. So they have now made inroads. Ang problema, since not very many policymakers of government are aware of the potentials of this market in the export market, hindi natin natutukan to. So right now, mabuti na lang, merong ibang mga puno ng Dole na pinayagan nilang makakuha ng clonal materials. Meron ding mga nag-import ng clonal materials. So maybe in 2-3 years' time, there would be enough legit legitimate clonal materials for massive propagation of Hass avocado. So we have to establish quality planting materials through an industry council accredited or recognized nurseries. In fact, at the end of this meeting today, I will ask the staff of MinDA to look into available funds that we could use in establishing a MinDA, a Hass avocado clonal garden. And we could do that by importing materials from either Mexico or the US. Gawin nating maganda, talagang legit. Ibig sabihin, hindi to parang kung ano-ano lang. 'Di ba? Sabi ni kuhan daw to, has daw to, sabi ni hindi pwedeng ganun eh. We want to develop an industry, compete in the world and shine in the world just like just as Rabia Mateo is shining in the world right now. We have to put out the best product from the Philippines, and we could only be assured of best product if this would come from outstanding clonal materials. So we have to establish an industry council accredited or recognized nurseries. Kasi dito sa Pilipinas, ang daming scammers. Nakita lang nila na magandang bentahan ng similya ng avocado dahil pinopost ko sa Facebook. From 500, 1,000 plus na ngayon ang bentahan ng similya. Pati langka. No? Ang masama dyan, yung ibang similya na binibenta nila, peke. No? So we really have to come up with registered clonal gardens na doon lang magagaling yung ating clonal materials. This is how we start an industry. Number 4, marketing through the MinDA-initiated digital platform or One MinDA, One Mindanao, One Data. So how do we do this? We have to come up with a database of accredited farms. Kailangan scientific ang ating approach. There should be a farm profile, location of the farm, number of trees, volume, and then there should be a database of existing markets, buyers. Like say for example, we invited Avante to join us today. So anong company profile ni Avante? Saan ang location niya? Anong volume na kaya niyang i-absorb? Because we cannot tell our farmers to produce more than what could be marketed, because that would create a problem for us. And then we should have a database of port-side, airport-side logistics and transportation, including freight and handling company profile. Okay? These are the essentials, my dear friends, as we start building a new industry. So as I end my opening statement, I would like to remind you that while we may not have as many viewers right now and watchers and participants as the Miss Universe contest, this moment today, May 17, 2021, will be remembered long after the winners of today's Miss Universe will be forgotten. Because today, we are going to start 2 new agro-industrial activities which could address so many problems in this country. Job opportunities, utilization of our land, maximum utilization of our land, income opportunities, and most of all, environmental protection by promoting the planting of fruit trees in the highlands and deforested areas of Mindanao. My dear friends, let's remember this date, May 17, 2021, because this would mark the birth of 2 new industries in Mindanao, the avocado and the jackfruit industry, which could, I assume, become major industries given the fact that we have ideal climate, fertile soil, sufficient rainfall, and of course, people who are hardworking. So on behalf of the Mindanao Development Authority, as chairman and initiator of this project, I would like to thank all of those who are participating in today's convention, virtual convention, especially those who are supporting this. I would like to thank Assistant Secretary Cherry Santos Akbar for chairing this convention today, our partners from the marketing sector, Lalaine Lam, and others, our technical people, our speakers, one of whom is based in the U.S., a former naval architect who is into avocado farming in the U.S., and of course everybody, all the agencies involved, Land Bank of the Philippines, Development Bank, National Commission on Indigenous People, Department of Agriculture, Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Science and Technology. Let's all help one another. Give birth to these two very exciting agro-industrial activities which could provide jobs for our people, reduce poverty, increase productivity, and boost Mindanao's economy. Thank you very much, and welcome to the first Mindanao Convention on Hass Avocado and Jackfruit. Thank you.